Hi everybody, welcome to the July 2014 Houston Clutter Coaching Meetup group. Today's topic is about maintenance, and what did we say? How to keep your decluttering machine running smoothly. Hi everybody, say hi everybody.
Hi!
That's so you know that I'm in here actually talking to people and not just the wall. And say hi Ed.
Hello, Ed.
Hi Ed.
Did you mean I'm supposed to say hi?
Yes,
or
you're supposed to say hi.
Oops.
He's the guy that manages the Meetup group and manages my website, and so when you interact, sometimes you get answers from him instead of me, but either way, we're the people to talk to if you have questions. So we're going to talk tonight about doing maintenance, which is a very basic concept that most of us, don't have a lot of skill in. So the first question I want to ask you is, what did you think of our little, our redheaded girl on the Meetup invitation that came out, the redheaded maintenance chick with the big wrench?
I thought she was great.
I know. He actually sent a note about how grand she was. Little girl, great look on her face, which basically said, "Don't mess with me." She had sort of a scowl on her face, and we thought it was very appropriate because I think most of us feel this way about maintenance in general, and particularly about maintaining your clutter. You know, a little unhappy and slightly annoyed. And she had the perfect face to go with that. And I think most of us are in that position about managing our stuff and doing the maintenance around managing our stuff. The same thing about cleaning. I don't really like to clean. I'm not a big, I'm okay with the organizing part, and I get paid to do it every day, and I love it. But, the sweeping and the mopping and the dusting, that annoys me. And the vacuum cleaner, don't even get me started about the vacuum cleaner. I just cuss my way through the vacuum cleaner. Somehow I can't make it operate correctly, and I trip over the cord, and it's just annoying. So we all have levels of competency around cleaning and maintaining our house, right? And nobody, well, let me restate that. There's a few people in the universe that get gratification, like I do about organizing, about cleaning stuff. I'm just not one of those people, and maybe a lot of you guys aren't that way either. It's just not, cleaning isn't just generally a super fun thing to do, right? It's not the best thing in the world. Hi! So, maintenance is the stuff that you do between major cleanups, right? Just like when you brush your teeth every day, you brush your teeth in the morning, you brush your teeth when you go to bed, and you're doing that so that your teeth won't fall out of your head. But ultimately, you have to go to the dentist for a major cleaning. Like you can only keep ahead of it so long, and then you have to go in there and let somebody with some really pointy tools and gas mess with your teeth, right? And clean it up. So just like going to the dentist, there's a maintenance and a major cleanup involved with dealing with the clutter in the house. So we're going to talk about the maintenance part, but it's all part of a continuum that is the constant chore of maintaining your stuff, which I know really kind of annoys everybody. You want to be able to just do it one time and never have to do it again, right? Lane says, yes, yes. So if you're at the place where your major overhaul of the house is overdue, and I'm going to, that's fine. It's too humid. We're in Houston. It's July. I can't. That's all I can say, right? It's just too hot in here. So if you're at the place where you are past due on your major overhaul, and I'm going to assume that if you're coming to this group because you're struggling with organizing and working with clutter, that's probably a good assumption. Can I say that about you guys?
Yes.
Right, okay. So if you are in that place, you're going to think to yourself, maintenance is the last thing on my mind. Like, what is there to maintain? The house is already a disaster. What in the world is she talking about? The reason that I want to talk to you about it is because the maintenance part is this separate chore that is, you have one chore that's dealing with the stuff that's already there, and the maintenance is the stuff that you have to do to keep it from getting bigger, right? For keep it from getting worse. It's the processing and the dealing that you have to do with the stuff that's incoming today, the stuff that's new today, the stuff that you bought at the store today, the mail that came today, the new crumbly, the dogs have, it's raining, the new dog trail of crumbly dirt that's come in from the outside because, it's been raining for 3 days, right? So there is a reason to pay attention to maintenance, and it is to keep the chaos that is your house now from getting worse. So allocating a little bit of time to that process is really a separate task that you have to manage. And see, I said all that. So, and really, I need to say that if your house is already drowning, then I suspect that you've dropped the ball about maintenance for a while, right? Maybe you've had an illness in the family or death. We're working with somebody today whose parents died, a year and a half apart, and it's been a year since that happened. He's fixing the sign again, isn't he? Okay. So she is now, it's been a year and a half since everybody passed away, and what happened was both of her parents died, and she's been grieving for a while. Yeah. So guess what went by the wayside? Everything. Because grief takes over everything, right? So while she was grieving, the house, devolved, I guess is the best way to put it. And I think that it wasn't really her skill set anyway, so it sort of went from chaotic to out of control over the time period of her grief. And so now we're starting in, and we're going to be we're going to be going through for a long time trying to dig it out. And in the meantime, she's got to keep processing the new stuff and keep it from coming out, getting worse, because there's really not any room for it to get any worse, I have to say. Sometimes people just give up. You get to a certain point and you just give up. You surrender. It's like it's completely overwhelming and you can't take it anymore, and oh my God, I don't know what to do. I hear that a lot. I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. And so you just sort of go, throw up your hands, like throw the chopsticks in the air, and you say, I surrender. Which is a natural response when you feel overwhelmed. So it's a perfectly understandable response, but it also is really throwing in the towel for the rest of the stuff to come rolling over your head. And so trying to ignore the project that is the current state and work on just the new incoming stuff is a way for you to get your feet wet in terms of getting started on digging your way out. If you can just slow down how bad it's growing, it'll help you get some practice, and it will make it possible when you feel less overwhelmed, when you feel like you have, you're past the grief, you're past the illness, you're past the, disruption that made it come unglued. You'll be able to get started and do a little bit at a time, hopefully, and learn the skills as you go. It is a habit, just like brushing your teeth every day. And you do that because you want your teeth to stay in your head. Like, that's a really important thing, right? The same goes for decluttering and organizing. Sometimes people call me with the idea that they're going to call me and I'm going to come with my wand. They're going to sink a bunch of money into it, and when I walk away, it'll all be perfect and it will never change. And then they live there for a week after I've been there, and surprise, surprise, it changes, right? So this is a state of affairs that you have to deal with. There is no finite place that you arrive at where all clutter is fixed in place and nothing ever changes. If you continue to have a life and have friends, have a family, eat, bathe, your house is going to continue. You're going to change clothes every day. Your house is going to be a wreck, right? So it's one of those habits that you have to accept is a necessary evil, like brushing the teeth, and you're going to have to do it. Now, granted, you can brush your teeth for 2 minutes, and it's going to take a little bit longer to do maintenance on the house. But truly, if you can just allocate a little bit of time every day, it'll be a small chunk, and it'll be repeated every day, and you can really stay ahead of what is new incoming, right? So I hear the grumbling, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. I would really rather shoot myself. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I have to say that, okay, you can choose not to do it, which is probably where you are, but you're living in the result, right? So you made an informed adult choice. I will now ignore my home. I'm choosing to make this choice because I can't be bothered, because it annoys me, because I'm too tired, because I'm pissed at my husband, because of fill in the blank, right? And now I am going to just let it be what it is. And then you wake up one day when your house has reached your personal saturation level, right? And everybody's level is different. I have clients that call me screaming that their house is a wreck, and I go over and I'm like, what? but for them, it's a wreck. And I have people where I go over to the house and I'm like, wow, this is huge. And they're like, really? You think this is bad? So everybody has a different level. And wherever you reach your level, that's the place where you start to feel like it's interfering in your life. It's interfering in your ability to have relationships. You can't get anything done. So you guys have heard me say this before, right? It's all part of the result of ignoring. So if you can learn to maintain, if you can develop the habit and acknowledge it as a habit that is in service to you, instead of, my mom always made me clean and it makes me mad, so I'm going to rebel. Oh yeah, so, you're 60 now and your mother's 80 and, is it really worth still rebelling? Like, you've been doing it for 50 years. Really? I actually had a lady tell me, and she was in her 70s, she left her car a complete wreck, and it was a sea. I saw it. It was, all the full back seat was completely full of trash. It was a complete disaster. And she told me, my dad used to yell at me about my car all the time, and so I just leave it like that because I'm rebelling against my dad. And I'm thinking, your dad is gone, sister. Gone. And, really, you want to hold on to that argument for that long. So this habit that you're developing that, your mother tried to make you do, or your dad tried to make you do, or whoever in your life is trying to make you do. You need to clean the house. You need to clean the house. That's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because the house has reached a saturation level that you can't deal with anymore, right? How many of you guys live alone? See, you don't even have anybody to blame in the house, right? Okay, so truly, you are doing it for yourself. It is annoying, but you want the result. And so developing the habit and doing it despite the fact that it's annoying, just like it is to everyone else, allows you to get a result on the other end that you like. So the lady that I'm working with, and I was working with today, whose house is, post-grieving disaster, we cleaned out 2 surfaces in the kitchen so that now this path between the sink and the island is empty and the counters are empty, and it was uncovered. And she stood there and said, oh, this just makes me so happy. And you can see the relief that washes over when she comes in from outside and walks into that half the kitchen. Like, we couldn't do it all. It's going to take 3 more appointments to get through the kitchen. But that little universe of clear space made her go, oh, it was such a relief. And that's the goal that you want. And that's why you're doing it, even though it's annoying, even though you don't want to spend 20 minutes doing that, even though you're tired when you come home from work. You still want to spend that time because you want the benefit of your hard work, which is breathing a sigh of relief at the clean counter that doesn't annoy you anymore, right? So I'm going to just say a few little things about what you can do to declutter, what the maintenance ideas. One thing that I've said this about working on the major project, just like when you're working on your backlog, you want to be doing it when you are most awake, most rested, most fueled, right? So for some people that would be early in the morning, before you go to work for half an hour. For some people that would be when you come home at the end of the day. For some people that would be 3 in the morning. It really doesn't matter when your time is. You're the one that knows what works for you. But you want to do it in the time frame when you are the most effective and the most juiced. And the reason I say that is because it's in that moment of best resources that the task is the least annoying, right? The more tired you get, the more cranky you get, the more hungry you get, the more stressed out you get, the faster the annoying factor is going to rise, right? So if you can set your minimum time, your little work time slot for when you are feeling the best, it'll be less irritating, or at least irritating possible, let me say that, and you'll be able to get through it quicker. And that's the important thing. You want to get done and buy on. So my mother's a morning person. She totally does it in the morning. She gets up, she has the coffee, she fiddles for 2 hours, that's it. That's all she's got for the day. I'm a night person. I do lots of stuff at night. I'm running the vacuum at 11 o'clock at night. That would make most people crazy, right? It's when you're available to be productive. I would also suggest that you set a specific time. Like, I'm going to do it every day from 7 to 7:30 or from 8 to 8:20. And do it every day. Maybe do it, 4 days a week during the week. Maybe do Saturday and Sunday and Tuesday and Thursday. Whatever works for you, whatever you think you can do. The goal is to do enough maintenance so that as you process the mail that's come in and the clothes that you took off and the groceries that you brought and the shopping that you did and whatever else is new and coming, you want to find yourself at the end of the week having processed everything new that came in that week. If you get to the end of it, woohoo, maintenance is done. Now the stuff that you're working on is the old stuff, the project stuff. So set a recurring appointment. I know I've said this before, but I think it's really important to decide that this is a chore that you have to schedule time for, particularly if you find it stressful to do at all. You want to block it out and say, I'm going to do it from this time to this time. Come on in.
Okay, got confused with getting here.
Don't worry about it. Hi. If you're having trouble getting started, you can set a timer. You guys have heard me talk about kitchen timers before, right? Set a timer for 20 minutes. Do it for 20 minutes. Race against the clock for 20 minutes. When you get to the end of the 20 minutes, you can say, okay, I'm done. If you're like totally irritated and can't take it anymore, do it for 20 minutes and be done. If you still feel like you can keep going, like once you got yourself started, you still have a little more juice, then you can say, come on, I'm going to set the timer again for another 20 minutes and do it for 40 minutes. If you do it a third time, you've done an hour. So it's really up to you about how far you want to go. But I would try 20, see how you do, 40, see how you do, an hour. And if you get to the hour, stop. Maintenance is not endless until you fall over dead. We want to do maintenance and we want that to be finite, and you want to have it in your head that this is my daily routine and I'm not going to go beyond this point. Because I don't want you to burn yourself out. You're already burnt out, right? Like the whole idea of working on the big project is going to take forever, and you want to feel like you're doing A to B, and when you get to the B, you can do the happy dance. You got the win, right? You finished and you're done, okay? The goal is really to develop a habit in bite-sized pieces. You want to be able to take a little bit at a time every day, right? When I come home, I've been working and I have scrubs on, and I know that if I sit on the couch, done. I'm done. That's it. I'm like, I've been standing, I've been lifting, I've been hauling, I've been sweating, of course. I've been in people's houses, I've been on my feet all day. If I sit down, I'm hosed for the next 4 hours. Like I become glued to the couch and the animals come and sit on me and that's it. So I've learned that I cannot sit down. I have to stay in work mode. I have to pretend like I'm still at work. And I come home with that. I take things out of the car with me. I'm taking out my trash from the day. I'm carrying, here's one thing that came from, I've stopped at the store. I had this from the client and it's got to go in the house. I come in the house and I do things like I clean out the litter boxes. I take the trash out. I process the mail. And these are all things that I do without sitting down. Okay? So it's something that I want to do so that I can feel good about sitting down and resting. I spend sometimes it's 10 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's 45 minutes, depending on how much is going on and what I've got to haul in and all those kinds of things. So I dedicate that time between I got out of the car and before I sit down, because I've learned that, butt likes couch, man. Once I'm in it, that's it. Until about midnight, and then I wake up and start running around doing stuff again. But it's like I have to sort of have a post-work crash, and I can't let myself crash until I'm done with my chores. Because if I wait until midnight, then I wake myself back up again, running around and doing my hour at midnight. So I do other things, but mostly I'm doing things to prep for the next day or sending emails or something minor. I'm trying not to do something that will wake me up again. So it's important to find that slot in your day where you're willing to extend your work day for a half an hour and do some work at your house. And then I go and I take my clothes off and put them in the hamper and I put the pajamas on and there I am. Now I'm on the couch. Later I have to get up and do dishes, but I usually don't do that till 10 or 11. It's something that I know about myself. I have a little burst right before, in the evening late. But I don't want to do everything at that point because then I can't go to sleep for 2 hours. So you have that slot in your day where you can do all these little things. You do it in the morning, right? You're like a wake-up morning guy. So he's totally like, he's poured the coffee, he's chugging the coffee, and things are zip, 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 zip. Yeah. And he's sending me texts, and I'm not answering for 4 hours because I'm not awake yet, right? So we all have our slot, and you just have to find yours and step into it. So here's the last thing I have to say, and then you guys can ask me questions. I know it's a radical idea to think about doing something every day when you've been doing nothing for so long. But the problem is that you cannot decide that you want it to be different and continue to do nothing. Doing nothing will not get you there, right? You're going to have to change some habit in order to make it do something. And we want you to be able to do that and make headway. And you're coming here on the presumption that you really do want to make a difference. You really want it to be different for yourself. So this is the first step, right? To try to take baby steps every day to stay ahead of the new stuff. That's maintenance. And that's something you can do forever, amen, until, they take you away.